Okay, so the first unit was Nature of Knowledge, and Nature of Knowledge, it was all about our brains and how we think. We began with lots of knowledge issues that second guess everyday life, and they kind of snapped us out of reality and made us think twice about the norm. Knowledge issues are everywhere, and I bet you could think of some off the top of your head, like why are we so quick to trust websites for information like Wikipedia? How do we know if anything is true unless we see for ourselves? Knowledge issues are meant to reject, accept, and classify knowledge, and you can see this on a Prezi on page 6 of the TOK site. We also learned about the things about our brain, like on a neurological level, physical level, and try to understand how it actually works physically by receiving information in the form of energy, which travels through a network made up of trillions of neurons. My favorite part about this unit was how we learned that our brains actually have a mind of their own, and they can actually play tricks on us or do things to protect us. Like in the TED Talk about that guy that he thought it was a snake bite, but actually it was a stick that scratched him, and he was like writhing in pain. And then later, when he went on another hike, he actually got bit by a snake, but he thought it was just a stick scratching his toe. So that's a pretty good example of that. So that just shows us how instinct can literally take over your body and like trumping it, you know. And my favorite part of the brain was learning how serial killers actually have physical difference in their brains, and were actually smarter as in school than most people. We took a little break from the brain and started talking about personal beliefs and beliefs versus knowledge, and we ranked beliefs on scales of vagueness. Let's see. The big project for this unit was the This I Believe movie, which we got to state our beliefs and feel unique. You know, everyone likes feeling unique. But yeah, we studied people's morals and ethics, different people's morals and ethics, and how we can determine what is acceptable and not acceptable in society. And the hands-on activity for this unit was ranking crimes and actions in order of their seriousness, you know. And I thought this was fun because we got to see similarities between how we ranked the seriousness or badness of each action or crime. And to wrap up this unit, we got into technology and artificial intelligence, and if artificial intelligence is actually intelligent. In my opinion, I developed a pretty strong opinion from this unit, or from this part, because in my opinion, machines and technology can always be built to do things more efficiently by humans, and there's no doubt that some things like machines can do things better than humans, but they can never you can never create a machine to mimic the brain, or mimic, more importantly, how our brain works with our body. You know, you just can't mimic that. Humans, well, you can't mimic a human. You know, so we also stressed in this unit that there's a difference between information and knowledge, and I think that knowledge is cumulative, and it lives inside your brain. That's the big difference between them, because I think that information lives on pages of books and on websites, and another difference between them is that knowledge you can recall and remember, and you can actually use it, and it's useful, but information is just there, you know, and it's our jobs to convert the information into knowledge. That's the difference. Okay, so for sense perception, the second unit, It links in with the previous unit because we take information from our senses and it gets processed by our brains. We started learning by how information is presented, or how it's presented can affect how well people can understand it. Eye-catching infographics are much more pleasant and easier to look at than traditional pie graphs or just pages of information that nobody wants to read, But pretty much, generally, the easier and simpler the better. Also, eye catchers are important because it's a big part of a big part of how someone takes in knowledge is their attitude towards the information. You remember the ba 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 ba? Well, that was an example of how our eyes can play tricks on us by seeing what we want to see or how we normally see it, going off memory. So sometimes it's difficult for our brains to pick out tricks. There's like a miscommunication almost, and yeah, there's a miscommunication. So my favorite video was that gorilla that walks through the room and we don't even notice it because we're focused on something else. And that really just shows us that we're not as keen as we think we are sometimes. But we can't always be dependent on our memory, because memories are often made up and details can be left out because the situation wasn't that important or we see what we want to see. So how comfortable would you be identifying a robber that you saw for a good 10 seconds when you were probably focused on your safety rather than the robber's face? I think it's really interesting how we can remember smells and tastes. Honestly, that's just mind-blowing, because it's like they're not physically there. They're just a feeling. It's like a sense. Like, I can remember how this clip looks like, I can remember that. I can memorize it and know what it looks like, but how can you actually remember a smell? But it's interesting how our senses can all work together, like how a gourmet chef prepares his food. If he took a piece of fish and drizzled sauce on it, and put oranges in a pattern, made it look all nice, it's going to taste the same as if he took that fish and mashed it up into a ball and then stuck it on a stick. And, it's going to taste the same, but the difference is it's just how pleasing the meal as a whole is, taking in your senses, the smell, the taste, the sight, maybe even the texture. Not that you're going to feel your food, but like in your mouth, I guess. But yeah, this led us to our food project, which was awesome, best project ever. And we rated food on several different aspects, like appeal to the eyes, smell, and taste, to determine the most pleasing food. We kind of added up all the points to see what was the best. And our third unit was Language is a Way of Knowing, where we talked about one of the most important parts of knowledge, which is communicating it through language. My favorite question that arose in this unit, my favorite questions actually that arose, were questions like, how do words lose their meanings between languages? And how do words limit us? Because these are actually legit problems. Words mean different things in different languages, so saying something extremely powerful in one language can sound silly in another. Also, personally, I'm sure this is, I don't know, just personally, my thoughts are, I have a lot of thoughts, and sometimes I find it difficult to explain them, I'm sure you all have that issue where you have all these great ideas and then you say them and you're like, doesn't sound right, or it just like doesn't sound as good when I say it, It's not your fault, I guess. So communication doesn't need to be verbal, however, because we can learn or because we learned that there's a whole science behind attraction, body language, and how we communicate to each other through little things like our tone of voice, our posture, and our facial expressions. But because sometimes words aren't even needed to tell how people feel, just their body language can show it. And sometimes people can slip under pressure and say what they really are thinking. And this is where this ties in with the next unit. I felt like these last two units, emotion is a way of knowing and language is a way of knowing, they're kind of like two subunits and I don't know, I guess you can call it the communication unit, that's a better word for it. Because they really tie in when we start talking about body language, because that's, you're showing emotion and you're communicating it, just like you're communicating through language. So we really picked apart emotions in this unit, which was fun because sometimes we really don't know why we feel things. For example, I did irritation as a emotion, and I actually had to ask people why something was annoying, to get a second opinion, because I was like, this annoys me, but I don't know why. So I'd be like, hey, why does this? Why, if someone did this, why would it be annoying to you? So emotions are different for different people. Like, maybe I don't get as excited for my birthday as someone else might, I just, different things annoy me, different things make me angry, different things make me happy than someone else. But emotions are definitely universal. They're the universal communicator. And, you can tell when someone's happy, usually, I guess. But I think something that's really funny is how we attempt to communicate through texting and words over the internet, because laughing out loud, ha ha ha, is different than LOL, so but I mean, we've tried to like make ways like smiley face, but it's just not the same. But it's not bad, it's just funny, attempting. It's not like I don't do it, But emotion is extremely important to us. We learned in this unit, and I kind of realized that when we watched some of Equilibrium, just learning about the whole idea for the movie was just crazy, because they're not allowed to feel any emotions, and emotions are really important to us because they're not only our way of expressing our feelings, but they are also our way of learning about ourselves. And they're what makes us unique, Even animals have emotions, like the grieving elephants. And if you've ever had puppies, they whine and get sad when you leave them alone, I think that regret is a really powerful emotion. That's one thing I learned in this unit, because it's one of the emotions that really just sits inside of you, and you just wish that something could have been different, but it can't, because you can't go in the past. It's like that woman that got the tattoo. She can't go back and do it. She gets skin graft, I guess, but you're always like, wow, that's gonna be expensive. Like, I paid money for that tattoo. I have to pay money to get it removed, or I could have just not done it. I'm such an idiot. But yeah, sometimes we just need to reevaluate our emotions. We can strive for things that we think make us happy, like money. That's a big one. But in the end, they don't really make us happy. So yeah, thank you, Miss Burvall, for an awesome year. I learned a lot in TOK, and appreciate all the time you put into the class.